Welcome everybody to this week's edition of Making Sense. It's our first ever episode, and I'm proud to say that we are going to be talking about a lot of good stuff today. So from here on, let's kind of introduce ourselves. My name's Hawkeye, and the other guy, I don't know really much about him. I think his name was Red, but I guess it's Red Daniels.
Yeah, you would be right. Yeah, Red Daniels. I typically go by Red, but yeah, Red Daniels is good. So yeah, everybody, welcome to our very first podcast episode of Making Sense. As you heard in the intro episode, you know what we're about. So what's first on our list today, Hawkeye?
So today we're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff. But at the top of our list of topics, we have adopt a litter control. If you've been driving down the interstates, the state routes, you've got to notice inside the ditches, out inside the cornfields, anywhere, there has been a lot of trash since this pandemic began. The adopt a litter control program in our government is not doing their job.
Huh, and is this up? Is this up around your area, or has it been like all over the place?
I've heard from Newsmax. I've heard, um, I think it was the Greg and Kelly show on there, but I've heard a lot of other programs also saying the same thing. That it's not just up here where I live at, up here in northern Ohio. It is all over the United States.
That's really good. Down here, West Virginia, I haven't seen, but I mean, I've seen a little more than usual, but I haven't seen much.
I just don't know what's up. I don't know if the program's just not getting hold of the volunteer groups, but really they've got to step up. I mean, we're supposed to be the leader and the cleanest roads in the world or something like that. Now
Yeah.
they're talking about how global warming's ending the earth. Well, we're pretty much destroying the environment by not cleaning up our roads because we're putting trash back into the ocean, and it's pretty much what Donald Trump tried to do was clean up everything. With Joe Biden, with the pandemic and just everything else going on at the same time, we've kind of forgotten we have to kind of clean up after ourselves, leave things better after we get done with everything.
So yeah, like I said, I haven't seen much myself, but I'll take your word for it. Like there is a lot and whatnot. And speaking of which, we might as well go ahead to our next topic, which is Clumsy Joe, right?
Actually, no. Our next topic is the USDA grain at new highs.
Oh yeah, that's right. I would have the thing pulled up here for us. So now this is some of the stuff I'm about to say is from AgWeb, which is broadcast on Ag Day. If you watch that, basically Ag Day is a weekday show, and it's for agriculture, as your name suggests. And they basically give the news about the latest stock market and whatnot, everything farming that you need. It's on Ag Day. So for Fort Collins, Colorado, it says here, and I quote, "The U.S. quarterly stock data from the Department of Agriculture has long been known to create waves in the market, but recent reports have felt tsunami-like due to some unusually large and unexpected adjustments to previous numbers." So I don't really know. I haven't read into this article much, but what do you think about this, Hawkeye?
I know that I've heard that, China's been buying a lot of grain off of us lately. I've heard that a lot of other countries. I just didn't know how big this thing was. But I know that last year's harvest up here where I live at, a lot of farmers were able to get a lot of things done. I've actually heard from friends through the FFA in different states. They said that their harvest was pretty good last year, and they were able to get a lot of corn, soybeans, and everything in last year.
Yeah, because those are pretty major crops up where you're at. That's like corn, soybean country, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty much just corn and soybeans. You used to have a lot of small farms around here back in the 1960s and 70s, but just as things changed, technology and people,
Yeah.
there was more jobs inside the cities that became available. Honda moved to Union County, Delaware County, and even a lot of people from Madison County work at Honda, and you've got even people from Franklin. So
Yeah, but also like you said with technology, you went from an old John Deere like what as like 7700, but that has like a 6 8 foot header on it, and now you got a massive S790 rolling down the field with a 50-foot header on it. So like you said, all
Oh
these
yeah,
farms that have all this money bought out the smaller farms, and now they got this big equipment, and they just totally dominated.
yeah. I mean, some of the farms around here have thousands of acres, and actually, there's one up in, I believe it's Findlay, Ohio, and it's Heinz Farms. They own so much acreage that they stretch from the pretty much northern Ohio all the way down to nearly right around Kenton. That's a lot of space.
That is a wow, that's a lot of area.
I
That's a
know.
lot of farmland. Um, I'm reading here as well. It says they. This is I'm kind of like half quoting, half saying what I'm seeing here. By March 1st, the U.S. corn stocks at 7.767 billion bushels, a 6-year low for the date, and 8% below the 3-year average. And the March 1st soybean stocks are seen at 1.543 billion bushels, a 5-year low for the date, and a 35% below the 3-year average.
So actually, the stocks are actually down then.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading here.
Okay. Huh. I mean, you would think that since everybody got all their grain and stuff in, that we would be at a new high.
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah. That's
Hey, this is
interesting.
just guys. This is just a thing, piece of evidence that you can learn a lot of stuff from Red. I mean, he's a pretty smart guy. I'll put it that way.
Thank you. I am pretty passionate about farming. I really do like reading into it. Uh, I wish that I actually had like a huge grain farm or dairy farm or something. That would be really cool.
Hmm.
But according to here, it looks like the Q12 ethanol output, again I quote, Q12 ethanol output, which accounts for more than twice the usage as exports, was down between 10 and 11% from the 3-year average as the pandemic continues.
Huh.
So, so yeah, basically this pandemic's taken a toll on the whole stock market, and it sounds like it's still really affecting these grain guys.
Hmm. I know that a lot of dairy farmers have gone bankrupt, but I know that just you would think that with the stock market, everybody always saying the economy's good. You never really hear about the grain
Yeah,
because that's just like a farmer thing. Just the farmers worry about we're fine. No,
yeah.
grain affects everybody.
Yes,
I mean,
grain is what makes the feed to feed the cows.
well, actually, it's not just that. Did you know that over 4,000 items in a grocery store is made out of corn?
Wow, that's pretty impressive. I thought you were going to
Yeah,
say wheat or
yeah. When I
something
found
else.
that out, I was blasted away. I never knew
Yeah,
that.
that's amazing. Well, if you look high fructose corn syrup,
Mm-hmm.
that makes and like everything has corn syrup in it today. So corn is definitely an essential,
Mm-hmm.
and that and making ethanol for diesel fuel and whatnot. I believe the MM Millennial Farmer. I do watch some of his videos. That's mainly you hear him talk a lot about shipping his corn off to the ethanol plant.
I know that over in Marion, Ohio, they have a huge ethanol plant over there, and you'll see trains coming in and out, taking the ethanol, away off to different states and stuff. It's just pretty wild how much ethanol the United States produces.
Yeah, and like what it takes. I mean, you got two trains coming in, one that's full of corn and one that's full of ethanol. And well,
Mm.
actually, that one's leaving, the one full of ethanol. But
So our next topic is beef market hoax.
I'm gonna say,
Now,
yeah, you were getting ready to talk about that. I was getting ready to hand it over to you, but you already got it, man.
all right, we're moving along here. So I own a newspaper called the Northern Weekly, and on our very first edition, about I think about a month and a half ago, we did a topic called beef market hoax. Now, what this was about is that the prices in the store to be able to buy beef is outrageous. But for the farmer to be able to sell his meat, he doesn't make a profit. I mean, it is crazy. And yet, all the butcher shops around are making a lot of money because people are getting their cows in. But just for the farmer to sell it off to these big giants like Walmart, Meyer, and just a bunch of other big giants, I mean, it is just outrageous that these guys cannot make a profit.
Yeah, because Walmart and like you said, all the big guys just want to keep getting richer, and they're not willing to pay,
Yep.
like you say in your newspaper, enough to, and I quote, keep the lights on.
Yeah. And actually, I've heard some rumors. I was talking with a friend of mine, actually from the FFA here at my home chapter, and they were talking about that potentially the cattle market could become like the hog. Now, the hog market, I've heard some rumors over the last few years. I don't know if this is true. Okay. So don't be saying that I said this and think that it's true. It might be false. I heard that there was a farmer out in Iowa that he had a group of hogs outside of his barn that he was getting ready to go sell, but the hog market was bad. So he went out and shot every single one because it was pretty much worthless. You can't make any money off of them.
Yeah, I mean that's absolutely nuts. Because like you said, local butchers won't pay as much as you know they won't pay as much as the big guys, but like you said, they're not paying as much either.
Mm-hmm. I mean, literally, if he was to raise those hogs and if he would have taken them off to the market, he would probably be paying double out of pocket and he wouldn't get anything in return for what he bought them for.
Yeah,
So really, he's just blown off all this money, and he's not. I mean, he. That's a lot. That's the reason why a lot of farms go bankrupt is because of that one reason.
yeah,
So, I mean, that's just pretty much the world that we live in. I mean, the hog market, and now you got to look at the cattle market is heading towards that way. I mean, it's outrageous.
yeah. It's absolutely crazy, like you said.
All right, so now it's time to kind of take a break. If you're listening to us, kind of just chillax. If you got a little bit of a headache from us talking, I understand because we're both kind of crazy. It's all right.
Yeah,
I know that Red Daniel, yeah, he can be a little bit more, on the crazy side. But he does have a show every week called the Ohio Squad. Now, if you love farming, this is definitely something
farming
you can listen to.
simulator.
There you go. Farming
Farming
Simulator.
Simulator 19.
Now, Red, do you want to kind of explain that to him?
Yeah, so basically, I try to do roleplay on Farm Sim 19, but sometimes it doesn't work out all the time. So right now, I'm working on a series, Medicine Creek, and I haven't really gotten a chance to record lately. I've been um, kind of just busy with a bunch of other stuff and getting this podcast ready. But yeah, I'm probably gonna record here soon, but yeah, it's nothing really fancy or special. I try to do my best and edit it and make the best content for all my viewers.
So, guys, if you like what Red just said, go online to YouTube and type in the Ohio Squad in the search bar, and you'll find it. I mean, it's pretty
Yeah,
much the
it's
only channel called the Ohio Squad.
yeah, first one that pops
So,
up.
I mean, pretty much, guys, if you want to, go ahead and get on there. If you like the video, subscribe to his channel. I I believe that they are deserve an Emmy. I mean, I've watched some of the videos, and I pretty much watch every single one that comes out every week. I mean, they're always pretty good. All
Yeah,
right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our next topic. And I don't know, but I think Red was his biggest supporter. I mean, Red, I saw you outside of your front yard with a Joe Biden sign during the election season. Is that true?
that is all false.
Well, I don't know where I got this information from. Remember, guys, I've got bad eyesight.
No, man, I wear a Trump hat every day.
So do I.
Yeah, every day to school, man, I be wearing a Trump hat.
So our next topic is called Clumsy Biden.
Oh boy, I think I know where we're going with this.
I know. We're getting ready to get in kind of a little bit of a deep area here. So please turn up your hearing aids and listen. All right. Brad, you want to go ahead and kind of give them an introduction into this?
Okay, so as we all saw the lovely video, and there's memes everywhere about it. It's like Baby Yoda from The Mandalorian when he hit. It was, I mean, it's like it's crazy, guys. Yeah, we've seen Joe Biden. He walks up the steps, slips one time, slips another time, slips a third time, and finally making it up the steps. And I've seen a meme where like a bunch of people were in a bar. I think they were in a pub in uh,
Mm.
England because they all kind of like were accented, and they were all like watching it when they made it to the top of the steps. They all jumped up and cheered or whatever.
I saw a meme, I think it was last week, but it showed Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, hitting golf balls on a golf course, and all the golf balls would hit Joe Biden in the back of the head and causing him to fall.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. I've seen that. That's the first one I saw, in fact.
Coincidence.
Yeah, I know. And
So,
have you seen the other one where Mario is riding his race car up the steps and he's throwing banana peels?
actually, I have not. I'll
Yeah,
have to.
you have to check that out. It's on TikTok if you have it.
Actually, I do not. I'm not
Yeah,
really social media, but I I kind of stay informed because I've got some friends at school that'll say, "Hey, Hawk, check this out." So they kind of keep me informed with everything going on.
yeah. I don't have TikTok myself. I just see it from my friends who have it. I don't want any of that Chinese spyware on my phone.
Mm. So, what was your thoughts on Joe Biden's speech the other night? I mean, do you
Oh
think he
my
deserves like an
gosh.
Oscar or an Emmy, just like
He
Governor
deserves every
Cuomo did?
reward they can give him. Oh my gosh, it was amazing, I tell you. Brought tears to my eyes, man. It was so good.
I
Oh
mean,
gosh.
hey, I mean, come on, he's the greatest. I'm sorry, I can't call him president because he's more of a nutcase.
Yeah, exactly. I call him Joe. Just saying. Like I said in the intro video, I call him Joe. I don't call him Mr. Biden. I don't call him Mr. President. I don't call him President Joe Biden. It's Joe. That's who he is. He's not president. They rigged the election. Trump is rightful president. He should be in office. My opinion. My story. I'm sticking to it.
I believe and said the same thing. I mean, there's absolutely no way that we only have 130 million registered voters in the U.S. Now, remember this: Trump got just 3 million more votes than he did the last time. So it kind of sounds a bit like Trump's more true number. He sits about 75 million votes. Now he got 72 million in 2016. Supposedly, Joe Biden got 80 million votes. If we were to do the math correctly and subtract the 75 million for Trump from the total overall 130 million, that would only give President, or I'm sorry, Joe, Clumsy Joe, 53 million votes.
And he
Now,
had
how
it.
does that add up?
That doesn't, man. I mean, and people believe it, and I think they need to quit watching the mainstream media and start watching people like Newsmax and the
Yeah.
Epic, reading the Epic Times. I get the Epic Times every week. It is a very good newspaper. However, I do fall asleep reading it because I lose interest. I'm not saying it's a boring newspaper. It's great. It's filled with detail, but guy can only read so much.
Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying.
But yes, it
So,
covers a variety. In fact, the January 5th edition, they got their facts in line. Those guys know what they're doing. So
mm-hmm,
we all know what went down January 6th. On January 5th, they predicted everything that would happen almost to the T.
mm-hmm,
And it was incredible.
I know. So, and it's just everything that happened on that day. The Democrats in Congress, or with the Northern Weekly, we call them the Dizzy Dims.
Yeah, the Dizzy Dems, I remember that, yes. It's one of the things I love about your newspaper.
The one thing to remember is that they pretty much this is an inside job. But the Dizzy Dems kind of forget. They say, oh, one person. Actually, I think it was a total of 4 or 5 people were killed. But you go and look at the Democrat cities as they run them, the Black Lives Matter, and there's hundreds of people that have died,
Yeah,
and they don't even worry about them.
exactly. And that's just okay. So here's my view on it. BLM is just not right. Not, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying that Black lives don't matter. I'm saying they do matter. All lives matter. And then what I don't like is when people will come back and say, "Well, all lives can't matter to Black lives matter." Is that no? All lives matter, including Black lives. That's what. And hang on, let me pull it up here. The definition of all is used to refer to the whole quantity or extent of a particular group or thing. That is the dictionary definition of all. And all lives matter. But what I'm saying is what they're doing is wrong. You don't
Mm-hmm.
need to be knocking down statues, burning buildings, and whatnot. And with the tearing down General Robert E. Lee, look, that was statue was put up like back in the 50s, and that was just to tell, that was kind of a darker time in our history as a nation. But that was just to tell people that, hey, we don't want black people here because that's just how the South was.
Yeah,
And that's what those statues were for, mainly. And some of them were made during the Civil War because, South wanted to celebrate the generals and whatnot and building them great statues. And
yep,
so that's what I'm saying. That's a piece of history. If you don't like it there, have a vote on it and have it moved to a private gallery or move somewhere else and out of the public view. And then, you can replace it with another statue.
yeah. And you know what's pretty sad is they always talk about how Black Lives Matter, and Biden and the Dems, don't really care for it. Whatever happens inside the cities, let the cities burn. Pretty much is what they. I mean, they don't say it, but that's pretty much the way they feel.
Yeah.
And the thing I don't get is they say Black Lives Matter. Well, how comes a lot of African American children are aborted each year in
Well,
abortions?
if I remember correctly, the statistics is that approximately 3,000 children die every day from abortion.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
So
crazy.
that that's a big number.
Yeah, it is.
So now, do, do you think that we're ready to move on to our next topic, or is there
Uh,
anything else we can talk about, Joe? I mean, come on, he's the most interesting man in the world.
yeah. Um, all I can say is pray to God that don't give them the nuclear codes.
I know.
Yeah, that's all
So,
I gotta say.
I
Um,
mean, Joe Biden is pretty much just a puppet. I mean, there's somebody on
he
the
is. That's a
inside.
good way to put it. He's a puppet on a string, and Kamala and Pelosi are at the other end.
There might even be somebody else in there running the
Yeah,
show.
I've
I mean,
heard Obama's been messing, toying around with it, and his husband, Michael.
huh?
That's what I call Michelle Obama.
Okay,
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
yeah.
So pretty much where things are at right now is, I mean, Joe Biden, he's somebody on the inside's pretty much running the show for him. There's even a recording, and I just don't know why people follow Joe Biden, even though he says some of the dumbest things, and yet they still follow him. It's almost as if he's a god to them.
Yeah, and during his speech, he went, "You ever want something that you be willing just pause for a second, look down, anyway, and then started talking about something else."
Yeah.
And also during his speech, I saw this on the Benny Report in Newsmax. It if there was a shot taken from like almost kind of like if you know what I'm talking about, like about the 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock position to Joe Biden, and you could see a book of the news reporter pictures, what kind of questions they were going to ask, and like who to pick on, who not to pick on.
Yep.
because there was somebody there, and I forget his name. I think he was on there on behalf of Newsmax, and he had a whole black binder full of questions,
Yep.
and he was right in the front row, and he kept saying, "Mr. Biden, President Biden, President Biden," and Joe would not pick on him. He would always pick on somebody else like from NBC or CBS, someone with baby questions, if, quote air quotes there, baby questions. And meanwhile, they got Trump over here, and he's getting bombarded with the hard questions and whatnot, and they're just not easing up.
Yeah. So definitely, there. I did a article in the Northern Weekly. I believe it was this coming week's edition. But about the age of censorship and just how they're trying to make the mainstream media is trying to make Joe Biden out to be this great man. Every day, oh, the president got up. Okay, who really cares about that? Oh, the president went out for a walk. Ooh, look at this. He's putting on a pair of glasses. Every little thing he does,
Yeah, and
each
same thing with
step,
Pelosi.
breath.
Holy cow, Pelosi has cookies and cream in her freezer.
I know they. It's just all one-sided.
Yeah, it is. It's very heavily one-sided.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, the Northern Weekly guys is a great newspaper, not one-sided, whole truth, and no bias intended. But like I said, we're all human and we mess up sometimes, and sometimes we do get bias.
Yeah,
But I know that you try not to do that.
yeah, yeah. I don't try to take sides. I just go after the truth when we do make that paper.
Yeah.
So let's
And
go ahead and.
yeah,
Are you
continue. Yeah, go.
okay? So let's go ahead and move on to our next topic, and it is Stalin, Lenin, and communism in Russia. Now the thing is about this topic is now
I
Red will be
have a
doing
lot
this.
of opinions on this.
The thing is, you can relate a lot of stuff to present day China, Vietnam,
And the former
Cuba,
Soviet
and a
Union.
bunch of other communist countries. North Korea.
Yeah, like I said, the whole entire former Soviet Union.
Hmm. So go ahead and give a whack at it, Red.
Alright, so basically we're going ahead and go back in time. We're going to start, I believe it's around World War One. I believe it's right before, right?
Yeah,
It was right.
1917.
Yep, 1970. That's right after.
Oh, no, that
So
would have been during. Yeah, that's when the revolution happened. But it was in 1905 is when Bloody Sunday happened. When the
that's right when the protesters stepped out and the Russian guards shot them.
Yep.
Yes, because so basically what set this revolution in motion was the king of Russia at the time made so much money, like printed it off or minted it. I believe printed it off so much money that things became worthless. You would take almost $100 to buy like a thing of milk and a loaf of bread. Basically, everything became worthless. And
Man.
so the poor people of Russia at the time that worked in the mines and whatnot, that barely made a quarter of that a month, couldn't afford basic needs. And so Lenin came up with the idea of a government where everybody would get an equal share, and the the rich would share with the poor, and nobody would be unequal. Everybody would be up top and all great. And to be honest, how I believe this is my personal opinion, how I believe Lenin planned communism out was not a bad idea. But
Hmm.
that's the thing, the other people, like Stalin, just took it and twisted it every which way but right.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing. A lot of people kind of forget is that the a lot of people think it's the people that run the communism state. It's
It's
no,
not.
the state owns you.
Yes,
It's the same
exactly.
thing with socialism.
In my opinion, socialism is communism with lipstick on it.
Yeah,
Socialism is just like the punishments are less harder. That's the only difference.
yeah. I mean, you pretty much saw what Hitler did with Nazism, and Nazism is socialism. And then you look
Yes.
over at the Soviet Union, And you see what Joseph Stalin did with communism.
Yeah, exactly. And no,
They were both evil.
I'm not saying that Hitler was not a bad man. Hitler was a horrible man, but Hitler only killed around like what was it, 8 to 10 million, while Joseph Stalin doubled that and killed like 20 million, and not only of like prisoners of war, but his own people. Like I
Yeah,
believe I had a friend of mine that I was talking about, and he was saying, yeah, Joseph Stalin would fake an illness and have the people sent up to his room to go help him, and they would come too early, and he would have them killed because he
yeah,
came into his room too early.
yeah. Well, I bet he wasn't wishing that when he died in 1953 when he had that heart attack laying there on the floor.
Yeah, yeah, that's what he also said, and that's what he said. He said, yeah, but then he had his heart attack, and then he called, and it never came.
Yeah. Hey, I gotta applaud him. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What a way of running his life, and then at the very end, he makes a bad mistake.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
So, I mean, pretty much, you can see that Joseph Stalin did his own genocides in his own country. You look at China today; they're doing the exact same thing to their own people.
Yeah,
I mean, it is sickening.
it is. And I saw some footage a few years ago, I think it was back in 2018, of a North Korean escaping to South Korea. So what he did is he went, got in his car to go to work, and just gunned it and went south. And he was going, and he was sputtering, running out of gas, and he was on top of the hill. He kicked it in neutral. It was like a GEO tracker, I think. It was an old manual stick shift, and he shifted it in neutral, coasted down the hill, crashed in the ditch, got up and ran like 5 miles straight and would not stop. And guards were chasing him the whole time. They were trying to flank him. He escaped through the woods, and the South Korean soldiers actually dragged him across the 38th parallel into free South Korea.
Oof.
It was a crazy video.
Yeah, I've
And
even heard that. I am going to quote this from the Epic Times. I don't know if I should really quote it because it was just the title of one of their articles. But they did an article, I think it was 2 years ago, of organ harvesting in China itself.
that sounds kind of disgusting. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and it gets deeper and deeper. I don't know if I really want to go there because we'll probably disgust a lot of our listeners.
Yeah,
So, I mean, just the things that China does. You look at Soviet Union and China. I have to say they do it a little bit more drastically. I mean, they are pretty much more evil
yeah,
than what Joseph Stalin and the Soviet Union were.
yeah,
And I'm not saying Stalin was a good man. I mean, just kind of like what you said about Hitler. I mean, they were all bad men.
yeah. They were.
So
They were all like monsters of humanity.
yeah.
But
So
yeah, I believe in the Bible it also says where like they near the end of time there will
hmm
be a second Roman Empire, and if you read into it, Mussolini's goal was to create, guess what, a second Roman Empire.
yeah, and
So
he
that really,
wasn't able to do that, but
yeah,
he was close.
yes, and that really shines a light on the whole topic. Like that could have been the Antichrist right there. Hitler could have been the Antichrist.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on to our next topic.
Yeah, speaking of
Now
the
our
Bible.
now our next topic. No, we're almost there. I know that you're kind of anxious for that story that we're going to be telling, but here's the thing: the Northern Weekly is going to donate $1 to the Christmas Light Fund here in my hometown for every question out of five that Noah gets right because we're getting ready to do some trivia.
Oh, okay, all right. You kind of spun this one on me. All right, let's do
I know
this.
I didn't tell you at the beginning we were going to be doing this, so I wanted to catch you off guard.
Yeah, you got me good. All right, so let's see how smart I am.
Now, since we love America so much, these are American questions:
All right, I
American
can do that.
history, American literature, pretty much anything American.
All right.
All right. Question number one. Remember, each one you get right, the Northern Weekly is going to donate $1 to the Christmas Light Fund here in my hometown.
All right.
From West Coast to East Coast, is the United States about 3,000 or 30,000 miles wide?
I'm gonna guess 30,000.
Eh, 3,000.
Oh. Oh no, wait. Aha, I got yeah.
Darn,
I messed
Red.
up my units.
Next time I see you, I'm going to bring a club with me. I'm going to have to whack some common sense into you.
There
Have
may
you
not
even
be
been
another
paying?
episode, guys. This may be it.
All right. Question number two. Neither snow, nor rain, nor gloom of night can keep these government workers from their job. Who are they?
They're postal workers.
Ding, ding. You got that one right. Now that's
All right.
$1. That's $1 that'll be going towards the Christmas Light Fund. All right. Question number three. Who defeated Al Gore Jr. to become president of the United States in 2001?
George Bush.
Which George Bush?
George H. Bush.
Eh. But hey, I'll consider it. You did say George Bush. It was George W. Bush. I mean, hey,
Oh,
we're
that's what I
donating
meant.
we're
Well,
donating the money to a good cause. So
yeah, I gotta give it to me.
yeah, all right. That's you're 2 out of 3. I mean, that's 6. Okay.
All
Good
right.
thing you're not taking tests.
Yes.
What majestic bird serves as a symbol of the United States?
Oh, this is my favorite bird. This is my dream man. If I was becoming this, what I'd be. It's the bald eagle.
Ding ding. Exactly.
Heck yeah.
When asked to suggest a national bird, Benjamin Franklin proposed the turkey. Yikes. I
Yeah.
don't really know if we would really like the turkey being. I mean, we eat that at Thanksgiving. I mean,
Yeah, but actually he chose it because one, it was a native bird, and two, it was actually a pretty noble bird.
that is true. All right, so
But
now
that's the thing. If it was a national bird, would we still eat it for Thanksgiving?
that is true. I've
That's a
never
good.
really thought about that.
Yeah, because killing a bald eagle is like a $250,000 fine and up to like 25
Mhm.
years in federal prison.
All right, so now here's our fifth and final question. Remember, it's 3 out of 4. $3 right now is going towards the fund, and you only get one more chance. I mean, it's the last question. So, you
Yep.
ready?
All right.
All right. The U.S. Congress is made of 2 houses. One is the Senate. Can you name the other one?
The House of Representatives.
Ding, ding, ding. All right, guys. So he got 80% of them right. If you know Red personally, I'd be calling him, telling him to study because he's got some work to do. He only got, I mean, if I was a
It's
teacher,
been
I'd
a
be giving
while
him
since
B
I've
minus
studied
right now.
fourth grade history.
Well, I'm sorry, but you got an 80%.
Oh yeah, that's still a B. That's passing.
All right, guys. So if you're still sitting there, still listening to us, we're going to go ahead and just kind of relax. We're going to go ahead and do another ad real quick. Now, the Northern Weekly, if you want to subscribe, get a hold of Red and tell him to communicate with me, Hawkeye, and we will get the Northern Weekly to you.
Yeah,
As
I'm
of right
gonna need
now,
you
well,
like your address and whatnot.
yeah. So now remember, I will not share that information with anybody. Okay?
Yes, that is confidential information.
Yep. And as of right now, the Northern Weekly has around 250 subscribers from around Ohio. That's an amazing number.
Yeah, and considering how long was it ago since we started the newspaper?
It's been about a month and a half.
Okay,
And
that's
and on that Monday I only had 2 subscribers.
and
So it has woo,
that has skyrocketed. That's amazing.
I know. So a lot of people love the paper. They get it each week. We write about a lot of stuff. So if you want to subscribe, remember, get a hold of Red and we'll see what we can do.
Absolutely.
All right. So our next one, okay. I know you've been waiting for this one, Red. We're gonna go ahead and do the Bible story.
All
Uh,
right, let's go.
this one is called the Sparrows and the Lilies.
Okay, now let me hold you right there. I actually have a little statement I'd like to say, and I just found this out just
Okay.
recently. And I actually got a Life Study Bible signed and with notes in it from Pastor Matthew Heggie. Just came in the mail
Really?
today.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, and it says my name and it's signed Pastor Matthew Heggie. And I'm just astonished. I'm breathtaking taken away. I
Wow.
just can't stop smiling about it. I am so excited. I cannot wait to
Mhm.
get it and read it and just yeah, and show it off to everybody.
Wow. Next time I see you, you're gonna have to let me see it.
Yeah, I will. I will show it off to you as soon as we meet again. But yes, that is just I'm just like over like over the top excited. Can't stop shaking.
Whew. Man.
I
You
mean,
know what?
if you for you guys who don't know who Pastor Matthew Heggie is, he is I believe a fifth or sixth generation pastor, and his dad John Hagee started the worldwide ministry JHM John Hagee Ministries, and they have Sunday services. This is Central Time. They're located in San Antonio, Texas, Cornerstone Church, and from 8 to about I don't know what time, but they start at 8 a.m. and then there's a second service at 11 a.m. and they have nightly service at 6:30. And there's a Wednesday night service, but I'm not too sure when that time is. But yeah, go ahead and check them out, jhm.org. Watch them. They great messages every Sunday. I listen to them every Sunday, and like I said, they're just great preachers.
Mhm. Now, can anybody listen to them online?
Yes, like I said, jhm.org. Go to watch live,
Okay.
and they even have their own app that you can get on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, multiple other things. Like I said, you're gonna have to look it up.
Hmm.
But yes, I have it on my Roku TV, and
Okay.
that's where I watch it every Sunday morning while I make bread.
Okay. Hey, if if you just heard Red say that, I, you know, I this is I think maybe the first time I've heard of him, but hey, I'm willing to listen to him on Sundays. So, let's all, if you heard Red say that, let's all get on Sunday and let's listen this Sunday to, is it Pastor Hagee?
Yes, Pastor Hagee. I believe Matthew Hagee just got finished preaching uh, three sermon series. I forget the name of it. It's called it's called Oh the Blood, and he talked about like the blood of Christ and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I think he may be speaking again, or John may be speaking. But
Mm-hmm.
when John, let me tell you this, when John gets into like Earth's Final Empire and stuff, those are the services you want to listen to. He has a book out on it. It is an astonishing book. I have read parts of it and I read the whole thing. I'm going to read it here soon. But when he gets into great detail, and at the end of the book, it shows like all of his sources and verses in the Bible where it says what he says.
Huh. All right. So we ready to go ahead and
Yeah, you go
read the
do your
story?
thing. I'm done preaching. Your turn, bud.
All right.
Get
All
up
right.
on your soapbox.
Okay. I think that box is a little big. I don't know if I'm going to climb up there.
All right, get going.
All over this great earth of ours, among the hills and in the valleys, wherever we go, we can find the happy little birds building their nests and singing their sweet songs of praise to God, who has given them such a beautiful world to live in. We must always be kind to these songsters, for God gave them their lives and loves they very much. He has filled the earth with good things for them to eat, and he guides them over the meadows to the gardens and streams, where they can find the food for themselves and their little ones. Have you ever seen a mother bird feeding her babies? I remember when I was a little boy living at the old farm. The pretty swallows used to build their nest in the sheds, and sometimes when the mother bird was away, I would climb up and feel the tiny warm eggs among the soft feathers that the birds had gathered to make their home cozy. Then, after a while, when the bright eyed babies were hatched, I'd love to watch the mother and father bird flying home with food for their little ones, and then hasten off again for more. And I could tell by the happy sounds from the babies in the nest that the father and mother always found something good for them to eat. Have you ever thought, boys and girls, or in this case, listeners, about who gives you so many nice things for food? Or who gave you the kind of loving father and mother who found such a good breakfast for you this morning? I am sure you know that this good Father above, and I hope you will always be truly and thankful to Him. In this land of ours, there is nearly always something for us to eat when we are hungry, but
Oh,
in some
I'm
parts
muted
of the
now.
world, food is scarce. It is very hard for fathers and mothers to find enough to feed their little boys and girls, in this case, listeners. But Jesus, who loves the birds so much, tells us in the Bible that He loves His children much more, and will surely care for them. One day he was speaking to the people on the green hillside, sprinkled with bright flowers. He taught them a beautiful lesson about the birds and flowers. Some of the people who were listening to him were very poor and were perhaps wondering how they would feed and clothe themselves and their children. Jesus knew what they were thinking about. He was so kind that he wanted to comfort them. Just then some birds called ravens were flying over the fields near Jesus was standing. And when he saw them coming, he said, "Just look to those birds flying in the air. They don't plow the ground or sow the seed or gather the grain, yet God gives them their food." And then he stooped down and picked up pretty red flowers that were growing at his feet and held it up that the people could look at it. Of course, they all wondered what he was going to say. "Look at this lily," he said. "What beautiful clothes it has on. It never worked or worried about what it was going to wear, and yet it is dressed better than the greatest king who ever lived." Then, in his loving way, he told them that they need not to worry about their food and what clothes they would put on. For the great and good God, their loving Father in heaven, was so kind to the birds and the flowers, surely he would take care of his own dear children. Well, listeners, I feel sure that when Jesus told them this story, the people felt very happy, and I hope you will never forget about the beautiful lesson. Whenever you see a pretty flower or a little bird, always remember that God is caring for you just as he cares for them. Have you ever seen the sparrows flying around in your yards and gardens? What happy little fellows they are! They are not to be found nearly all over the world. We could not count them, there are so many. But although they are so common and no one cares much for them, we know God's love for them. For Jesus told the people one day that God notices a tiny
Hey,
sparrow gets
Peyton.
hurt or loses
Peyton,
its life,
go
and
out
then
that way.
Jesus
Different
told
door.
them again
Please.
that our kind Father in heaven thinks a great deal more of us than he does of the sparrows. So you see that we need never fear that he will forget us. Why, as I told you in other stories, Jesus left his beautiful home in heaven, came to our world as a baby, so that he could be your Jesus and take care of you wherever you are. I am sure that you want to be God's own dear children, listeners. That you must be like those pretty flowers and Jesus loves so much. Sweet and pure and true, you must be like the birds. He spoke most always cheerful and loving, and you must be willing and kind. And as the little birds, you are always singing their songs of praise. Don't you forget to thank God every day for the beautiful world He has given us, and for all the good things that He's given you. Make sure to pray. That is the end of that story. So,
Amen.
what Red? What can we learn from that story?
I think we learn just to be thankful for what we have and remember that there's others worse off than you are.
Yeah,
And, you know, you should always, like, remember that every time you don't necessarily get what you want. Just think, this is what I have, but this kid in this third world country, it would
y-
practically kill for what I have. So I should be grateful for what I have
yeah.
and not want it.
I mean, the thing that I think that I learned from that story is that God is good. You
Yeah,
know, he loves us every day.
no
He's
matter
always
what,
there for us. I mean, usually we turn to God in the worst of times when we should pray to Him and love Him all the time.
every day.
Yeah, and that seems to be something that a lot of us forget to do. Is love God every day. Pray to Him every day. And I know that everybody sometimes gets busy, but just take a moment during your day,
Yeah,
and if you have to, talk to Him, or just pray to Him.
exactly.
I mean, if you think about it, God could have just said, I'm not going to create these guys. I mean, He created us for,
In
you know,
his image.
yeah, we are all God's children.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of people, kind of forget about that.
And right here, I have a few verses here. Psalm 68:19 says, "Every day God thinks of you." 2 Thessalonians 3:3, "Every hour God looks after you." And 1 Peter 5:7, "Every minute God cares for you." And Jeremiah 31:3 says, "Because every second He loves you."
Yeah. God is always by our side, no matter what happens.
Yes.
He's over there behind our soldiers in the Middle East. He's, even for the kids inside the hospital every night.
Yeah.
He everywhere. He's even at home with you, day and night. If you go to work, he is there. No matter what
Yeah.
you are doing, he is there, keeping an eye on you, loving you. He loves us all.
Yes. And here, one more verse here that we gotta. Then we're gonna go ahead and quit. We're over 50 minutes.
Go ahead.
Okay, and Exodus 20:20 says, "Before I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way and bring thee into place which I have prepared." 21 says, "Beware of him and obey his voice, provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him."
Yeah, God is good,
Yes, sir.
and He is our Father, and He loves us all the same.
Absolutely.
All right, Red.
All
So,
right,
I mean, we just completed our first episode
episode.
of Making Sense.
Yep. And thank you guys so much for listening. This is Making Sense with me, Red, and Hawkeye. We'll catch you this time next week. We love y'all. God bless and see you in the next one.
God bless.
Yeah, bye bye.